Alright, hello everyone, and thank you for tuning in once again to the Black Box Podcast. BBOR, Black Box Online Radio, coming to you from West Virginia. I was out of the country for a while. I was up in Montreal last week, so the upload's coming out a little late today. But we're now in the heart and soul of October right now. Came back home, saw the jack-o'-lanterns on the porch, all carved up. So let's celebrate October, and let's discuss some ghost stories and paranormal activity. I'm sure you know a lot of people who've experienced something paranormal, so I even want to hear your stories too. As I tell you about some true stories that people have told me about the paranormal, I would like to just ask you that first question. What is a story that you have about ghosts or paranormal activity, evil spirits? Whatever you'd have to say, please drop a comment below. Let's discuss a little more. I need to also say that this is coming out for our edition of Occult Mondays, and I'm a huge skeptic with this stuff. I talked about Jesse Walker on this channel in the United States of Paranoia, which is a kind of skeptic book about conspiracy theories. But one of the things that he mentions in that book is something that is, relevant to ghost stories as well, and paranormal activity, and just evil in the occult and all these things. He says that human beings are just pattern-seeking creatures. Human beings just try to look at everything in front of them, and they try to formulate patterns to come up with an explanation, because it is in our nature to try and explain things. And it has nothing to do with intelligence, it has nothing to do with culture, or, your educational background. I mean, all people do this. That's why you find ghost stories coming from people, no matter what their educational level is. Conspiracy theories coming from people, no matter what their educational is. My biggest issue with skeptics, and most of them fall into this category, is they go too far, and they say stuff like, just, there's nothing there. They just reject everything. They don't even listen to people's stories. So let's talk about some things that I've actually heard from people about paranormal activity, and I would like you to be the judge if you think that it's true or false. The first story I would like to tell you is about somebody I knew personally, and she was a woman from South Africa, but she told me that she had a psychic power. Remember, this isn't a ghost story. This is a paranormal thing. She had a psychic power, saying when she got really angry, she could make objects levitate. Like objects around her would start to just levitate and defy the laws of gravity and kind of ascend upward. And what do you think that would be? Do you think that psychic powers like that actually exist? My first kind of skeptic response would be, it's probably just that she's becoming very angry, so she's getting disoriented, and she's not completely aware of her surroundings. Or perhaps it's some other sort of, phenomenon in the brain, like she's not able to focus on her environment, so it appears like things are lifting off the table or whatever it would be. But what do you think? Do you think things like that are actually possible? I've just kind of said that one in a nutshell. The second one I'd like to discuss is, this is one that came to me from someone I knew back in college here in America. And this person was a very, very, religious Christian. She was kind of a biblical literalist. She thought a lot of the things in the Bible were absolute word for word, and I was very surprised when I learned that she was a genuine believer in ghosts, and that she thought ghosts, were like things that could interact with the material world. And I was like, well, why do you believe in ghosts? And she told me this story. One night, she was in her bedroom, and she saw a jewelry box come out of her closet. She kept the jewelry box in the closet. The jewelry box came out of the closet by itself, went all the way down the stairs, step by step, 1, 2, 3, 4, just walked down the stairs, and then jumped into their front door, slammed against the door, and then just broke. And, she's just like, what could that be other than a ghost? And I was just like, I don't know. And even, somebody like me, who comes at it from sort of a skeptic perspective, I just would have no idea what to say to that one. I mean, if someone actually saw this happen, I mean, this was in the days before camera phones, and I would be like, if you had, your smartphone, I'd be like, you better film that, so then we can have a different conversation. And there was also that channel on YouTube. I only saw a handful of videos from them. They were called the Boo Review. There were some guys that kind of gave interesting explanations about how they thought paranormal videos could be filmed. But I asked that story, I told that story to someone, and I asked them, what do you think about this? And they said they thought that a mouse had crawled inside her jewelry box, and that was the reason why the jewelry box was able to move down the stairs step by step. Or maybe not exactly a mouse, but probably a rat, like an actual rat. So, this girl had rats in her house. I hope that wasn't the case. But what do you think? If you're a skeptic, how would you explain that one? And if you're a believer in the paranormal, does that sound like something real to you? This isn't something where, it's like, this person claims that they actually saw all of these events happen. They saw an inanimate object, a jewelry box, move from an upstairs bedroom to the front door, completely unassisted, and, just like smash against the door and break. What on earth happened with that one? Now, in this last one that I would like to say, and there's a big reason why, I'll say something at the end, but I'll just tell you the story first. I had a coworker once who said that she was walking down the stairs and at a community theater, and we actually worked together at the theater, and she was walking down the stairs one night before I had ever started working there, and she was actually lifted off the ground, and then slammed against the wall. No one was around, there was no person there, and she was, she could feel something pull her up. Her feet left the ground, and she was slammed into a wall. And, it's like, what was that? That theater had a lot of cases of hauntings. Someone had a photo of kind of a gray mist, but it appeared to be, you could see the outline of a Civil War soldier, obviously a Confederate because of the gray mist. But this is one of the reasons why I kind of decided to choose this topic for Occult Mondays. I've always had this fascination about what is it that people are experiencing, because so many skeptics say there's nothing there. Well, these people are experiencing something. Yes, there is something there. It's just us. It's up to us to find out, what are they experiencing? What are they going through? Like, when somebody is being lifted off the ground and their feet are not touching the ground and they're suspended in the air and then they get slammed against a wall, what is that? Is that like the first girl? Is that just like disorientation and, she's got really scared and wasn't aware of her surroundings? Is that what that is? Or is there something else going on? And once again, no smartphone, no video, no recorded data. So this is only going off a story. And we talked about paranormal with Dr. Michael Shermer when I was covering his stuff. Paranormal just means, that it exists outside the realm of normal science. It means that it's passed down from things like stories and folklore and, things that wouldn't fall into the conventional definitions of science. But what about you guys? Do you think that there is any sort of spiritual activity in existence? And by spiritual, I mean things like, ghosts, hauntings, poltergeists. Are all of these things real? Or are they just, conjured up in the imagination of people? I do have to insist, though, people are experiencing things. Some more questions that we would like to ask that first person, that girl who can make the objects levitate. I would want to know from her, if I could ever find her somewhere again, would it be like, when they levitate, do they go back down in the exact same place where they were? Or are they like scattered throughout the house? Like, because I think there would be quite a big difference, if it just something goes up and then comes down in its exact same place versus, being thrown across the room. And with the second girl, you see a jewelry box walking down the stairs and slamming into a door. Once again, I mean, was there any sort of, residue left behind, any sort of markings, anything, associated with your house that seemed different? And then with the third person, they were lifted off the ground and slammed into a wall. I mean, I can't exactly get her to corroborate anything, but, I would wonder any sort of ropes that were hanging around. Remember, this is a theater, mind you, a theater. Any ropes, any cables, any sort of thing that could have possibly caught her shirt and pulled her up. I mean, anything like that? Well, I'm not exactly sure, but I would like to know what more people think about this stuff. And once again, do you have any sort of ghost story or paranormal story that you would like to share? If you have anything to say at all, please drop a comment below, and we can approach everything with an open mind. This is a pretty big judgment-free zone. Thank you for listening to this little podcast segment, and until next time.